On this episode of the Tuff Juice Podcast, I had none other than someone who I idolize, and I know a lot of people like me that come from the walk of life that I come from idolize as well. Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, and we talked about many things. We went down the path of politics, President Obama. We also talked about Joe Biden's task, his first 100 days in office, what that would look like. And we also pivoted back to what we experience in society as a people, as collectives, and how we've seen something that we've never seen before in our lifetime happen, and what the specific call to action should be going forward for people from all walks of life, but specifically people of color. Tune in to the Tuff Juice Podcast on my YouTube page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your pods. I don't want no issues.
Oh, woo, brother. Not at this time. No way. The more money, the more problems. You be.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So I want to ask you, like, on a serious note, like, what's your observation on everything that's been happening, around our world, like from politics, when you talk about athletes in that space, like this, what is your observation on what you've seen?
It's been an extraordinarily difficult year. It's a year that challenges our sense of unity as a nation. It has really threatened the kind of stability that we've been able to generate over previous administrations, not the present one. And in one sense, tragic as it is, it was a fitting end to one of the most calamitous, chaotic, and cataclysmic presidencies in the history of this nation, maybe arguably the most. With a racist in chief at the head of the government, with a guy who was sparking fury and furor, not trying to settle things down, but to, spark division and create opposition between groups and tribes and peoples and so on. So to have that dual pandemic, on the one hand, you got the global virus turning lungs to sponge and people saying, I can't breathe. And then you got the other pandemic of racial inequality turning bodies to nothingness as they claim I can't breathe. So both pandemics have the same cry, I can't breathe, but for dramatically different reasons. And then to see the athletes get involved, to see the NBA in particular, WNBA in particular, like take the lead because they are constituted of overwhelming numbers of Black people. And these people ain't gonna just shut up and dribble. They ain't gonna just pretend like it ain't real. And these are their people. And they see what's happening to their people. And they can't just play basketball because on any given day, they might go out there and get caught up in the same thing. And they know it. And to their credit, they were like, no, they are us and we are them. And to see what Milwaukee did in the bubble, to see what George Hill and those guys did, and then LeBron and CP3 and all the other fellows that followed up. Jimmy Butler wearing zero because that's what I feel like, right? Nothing, no registration on the conscience of America. And when Black men and women can play ball and entertain and titillate the nation, and yet their issues are not taken seriously, that's a problem. And they stepped up to the plate, and it was tremendous. So I was very proud of them, and recognizing that we're in a space and a spot in this nation where we got to really try to grapple with our racial future. And after the death of George Floyd, you saw millions of people flooding those streets because for the first time, many white people got it. Like, oh, okay. Now we see it, because there were no more excuses, right? Before, well, you probably were running from the police. He's on the ground. Well, you probably were dangerous. He literally can't move. Well, you probably were disrespectful. He kept saying officer and sir. Well, you probably had a gun. No, he didn't. And so no excuse. Like what you gonna say now? The man is literally on the ground. He is begging and pleading for his life. Officer Derek Chauvin with his knee boring into this man's neck, asphyxiating him, a 6'6" black man that if it was a fair fight, he could have thrashed all of them. But it ain't no fair fight. And so a lot of white people like, well, whoa, this is different. This hit different. And we can argue with white people like, well, damn, didn't you see it in slavery? Didn't you see it in Reconstruction? Didn't you see it in Jim Crow? Didn't you see it in the Civil Rights Movement? Didn't you see it when King got killed or when Malcolm got killed or Medgar got killed? Did you see it when Emmett Till got murdered? Did you see it when black women were raped? Did you see it when, Rosa Parks stood up? Right. On and on and on and on. All right. They didn't, but they do now. So what is your responsibility? Like Abraham Joshua Heschel said, the great rabbi, not all are guilty, but all are responsible. So all of us have a responsibility. And white folk who say, well, I wasn't there, I didn't even come over to this country until, why blame that on me? You can still take advantage of white privilege just because you weren't here when the white, when white privilege was established. If you come here as a white person, then you take advantage of it, then you are part of the system. So don't try to now act like, or as my daddy used to say, make like, that you ain't part of the system. And so all of this stuff came to the fore. All of this came to the surface. People are trying to wrestle with and grapple with, the inequalities that existed, the systemic racism. Finally, you're on TV and people talking about systemic racism. Dang, we've been trying to get that word into the vocabulary for like 30, 40, 50 years. And all of a sudden, the death of one black man changed the landscape. And so it's been a heck of a year. And to see the players step up, to see Black Lives Matter protesters step up, to see ordinary white folks step up, people, indigenous folk, Asian people, from across the entire span of ethnicity and race and gender and sexual orientation in this country, people came together for a spell. And I hope it sets the bar, and I hope it sets the temperature for how we're going to proceed in the future.
Yeah, I love the fact that you touched on something that I've been just applauding for quite some time. Like people from all walks of life, over 50 states, over 30 countries engaged in this movement. But my next thing is, and the question for you is, where do we go from here? Because me personally, I feel like the momentum has dropped off. People aren't visually showing like their support towards needle moving still. Like I feel like people are like, okay, the election was some type of symbolic trophy for us or something. Right. And now it's like, you know what? I'm good with that. Let me go back and deal with my ordinary life or whatever I had going on.
Right.
What's your observation of that?
Well, race, like basketball, is a game of runs. So, LeBron say, I'm 18 years in now. I might not play defense for the first 50 games. I don't know. I might lay back and let AD have it. So, it's rhythm. Look, a lot of white people for the first time fell in love with black people. I don't care what they say. For the first time, they dug Negroes, right? Yeah. Like, oh my God, Jiminy Cricket, you're beautiful. I fell in love with you. and they fell in love. And when you first fall in love, you flowers, candy, singing songs, and doing your thing. Then you fall off. Well, babe, you don't love me no more? No, I love you. It's just a different kind of love, right? So the thing is that I wouldn't be unduly discouraged. Yeah, you got to keep reminding yourself, you got to have date night, right? But first it was candy and Valentine's Day and love you. Then, it's the toothpaste is jacked up and the toilet paper ain't right. And you left the toilet seat up, I almost fell in. What's up? No, babe, I'm sorry. So now that's the stage we're in. So quickly, we moved from falling in love, white people, with a with us to like the ordinary stuff. But this is where the work gets done. In any relationship, it ain't during court time. And when you're courting somebody is when you settle down with the kids. And then you got to figure out the family and who's going to work and who's going to not work and who gets paid and who takes care of the kid. That's just ordinary systemic stuff. So instead of saying, damn, what happened to us? Let's just say, let's look at this stage we're in and figure out how to, in a serious way, integrate the struggle for social justice into everyday existence, the unsexy stuff. This is the unsexy stuff now. It was sexy. Black Lives Matter and posting a black square on social media. And yes, and crying and stars, it'll never be the same. And here we are like, what happened? Did it happen? Did y'all make a commitment? Where it at? Where the money? Where it at though? So, and the election was huge though. I will say, the fact that we don't have Donald Trump in office is huge. And a lot of people should be happy. And a lot of white people see y'all finally got treated like Negroes. Y'all got treated like we've been used to getting treated. Oh my God, he just calls us names for no reason. Oh, really? Oh, he just jumps on us and no matter what we do, we can't win him over. Oh, really? Yeah, we know about that. I don't care how smart we are, you still don't like Negroes. I don't care how bright we are, you don't like Negroes. I don't care how cute we are, you don't like Negroes. I don't care how willing we are to go along with your program to make it. We don't like Negroes. No matter what we do, you just don't dig us. So Trump treated America like America treated black people. But people who ain't used to getting treated that way were tripping. Oh my God. This is horrible. Then they got it. Then they wanted to put him out of office. Oh, then they wanted to fight against him. Oh, we were telling you that from the jump, from the giddy up. We were like, nah, he ain't nothing nice. And it ain't cool. Oh, it was all right as long as he was dogging Obama. As long as he was like saying Obama and he was a birther and saying he ain't no citizen. Oh, yeah, well. But when he started coming at you, white people, like, oh, you're ugly, you're fat. Oh, what's he doing? That's so barbaric. It was barbaric when he did it to Obama. But because it wasn't your body, you didn't understand it. Wasn't your team in the playoffs, so you ain't watching it. Don't affect you. The salary cap ain't hitting y'all the same way. So if it doesn't affect you personally or collectively or your enterprise, then you don't understand. And then America began to understand that this guy was bad for everybody. And so, the election was critical. Moving toward Joe Biden. I mean, I'm not saying it's a be all and end all, but it's a hell of a shift away from what we've already had, away from what we were already dealing with, away from what we were trying to grapple with as a nation. And as a result of that, we now, set up to do something different. I mean, Joe Biden done set Kamala Harris up to be the first female president. Like that alone is deep, right? He got more cabinet members of color than Obama had, certainly more diverse than Obama. So the same Negroes who wasn't tripping on Obama stopped tripping on the white boy. All right, be honest. And don't be mad at white folk who are so uncritical of Trump, they would follow him into a pit when y'all did the same thing with Obama. My forever president. I ain't mad. I love Obama. Obama's much better than Trump, much smarter, top 10 president of all time, but he wasn't perfect. And the fact that we couldn't even criticize Obama unless we were called, oh, you're a sellout or you're a hateful Negro. No, Negro. That's our job to call into, account everybody. Obama did some messed up stuff too. Obama didn't meet with the Congressional Black Caucus until 2.5 years into his presidency. Trump met with him in 60 days.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. Trump met with him in his first 60 days. See, if Trump had played it right, he could have just said, hey, I did some stuff your black president didn't do. Right? With the HBCUs, Obama first, real tricky with some of the stuff he had put into effect that really hurt the Parent Plus loans and so on. So Obama did some stuff that was jacked up. He would talk about black people, don't feed your kids chicken for breakfast. If a white person said that, we'd be madder than all get up. Well, we said, well, he's a brother. He got a right to do that. Well, if you have a right to say something to black people that only black people can say, you have an obligation to represent us in a way that only black people can too. But he was always, no, I ain't the black president. I'm the president. I ain't the president of the NAACP. I'm the president of America. Well, damn, how it work? So when you want to, you can call him and jack us up because you one of us. But when we expect you to do some stuff that one of us would do, you claim you ain't the president of ours, you president of everybody. And Negroes fell for that hook, line, and sinker. Let's just be real.
What would you want to see more of from Barack Obama?
Well, I think, first of all, he was timid about when it came to the issue of race, something that he knew about more than most people. Like, that would be like having Caron Butler as president, and then we got a discussion about basketball. Oh, well, you know, I don't really want to talk. Well, damn, I thought you were one of the greatest players. You know, you gifted that way. Well, yeah, but basketball is controversial, and I really want to talk. Like, wow, whoa. So here's a guy who wrote a great memoir on race because they dusted you off because you talked about the police as stupid after Henry Gates got arrested. You know, people said, well, he got blown off because, you know, he got blowback. He got blowback just for wearing a tan suit. They ain't want it, right? At some point, you got to go, this is who going to stick with me, and this is who ain't going to be with me. And I think Obama kept trying to convince the other side, oh, please come over. They don't love these hoes. They don't love you, sir.
They please everybody.
Oh, my God. I mean, come on, Doc. They don't dig you. So as they say in Tennessee, dance with the one that brung you. And again, I wrote an entire book on Obama. I love Obama, appreciate all his great stuff he did. But he was very publicly critical of black people in ways that black people couldn't be critical of him. I think that's jacked up. Like, if you're going to go out here and make critical statements about black people, make them about white people too, though. Number one, like, if you're going to come at us, then come at white folk. Because otherwise you make it look like, oh, white folk are perfect. They ain't got nothing that we got to jump on them about. But Negroes, I got specific stuff I want to come at you on. Like, if you're the coach, well, damn, coach, I mean, I know I'm the point guard, but god dang, what about the power forward over here? I'm on the pinch post. You know what I'm saying? Trying to do what I could do. But, you know, my man, I mean, come on, he ain't blocking out. He ain't boxing out. We can't get no rebounds. You ain't criticizing him, but you criticizing me. If you're a good coach, you got to understand what your players' strengths are. So he's criticizing one side, not the other. And that ain't fair. And I think that there were some more, you know, look, if anything Trump proved is that you can use executive orders to hook up a whole bunch of stuff. That all of it ain't right, but he got a lot more power than he said. There's some things you ain't got to ask Congress. Just make a darn executive order. He could have talked about criminal justice far earlier than he did. Eric Holder was out there, but Obama was dragging his feet. Black Lives Matter didn't get after Obama like they got after these people afterward. It'd have been interesting to see Obama deal with them, but look at what he's done since he's been out. He's critical of defund the police. Now, look, if you read the whole interview, it was more complicated than people tried to make it out, what he was saying. But at the same time, you smart enough to know what they're going to take. They're going to make this look like you hate defund the police people. And maybe Obama's not a fan of defund the police. But at the same time, he comes out, now he's walked some of that back. He said, well, because some people were making the argument that defund the police had cost us, some races. Well, where's the empirical proof of that? It's one thing to say that. Where's the proof to say that a lot of American voters were turned off by defund the police? Do you have data on that? And Obama said, well, that's what they thought I was doing. But you still didn't clarify it. You still didn't go, that's not what I was saying. You still didn't say, that's not why we lost it. So, you know, he's smooth with his. He's nice with his. But the thing is, you should say, hey, I know why black people and others want to say defund the police, because they're killing black people every day. And Obama's saying it because he's Pharaoh. He's not the children of Israel, y'all. He's saying it from in chargeness. He the coach. He ain't a player. You ain't out here carrying this ball. You ain't shooting these balls, right? So those people out there, the activists on the field doing the thing, are going to feel differently than a dude who was president. Now, on the flip side, since he's been Pharaoh, he can tell you what Pharaoh dig and don't dig. He can tell you how he gets through. He can tell you what they're looking for. And we can't be hypersensitive on the one hand by saying, well, we're the leftists and progressives. Y'all need to have a packaging and marketing too. You need to know what's going to work and what ain't work. And don't call it this. Don't call it. If it ain't going to work, then don't call it. What you want, the commercial or the product? If you want the product, it don't make a difference what the commercial is. I'm still getting the product. But no, I want to announce to the world what I'm doing. Sometimes don't tell everybody what you're doing. Bad boys move in silence. Have the P. Diddy or Biggie school of analysis here. So the point is that I think Obama was great. I think he was extraordinary. I think he did some stuff he could have done more politically. He could have done more socially in terms of the bully pulpit. And then when he came to us, he gave us My Brother's Keeper. Bruh, he could do that after you leave office. That's some social service. Where's the public policy, right? When Jewish brothers and sisters came at him, they came in there, hey, what you doing about Israel? What you doing about this? Environmentalists, what are you doing about environments? Gay and lesbian, they wasn't cutting them no slack. I don't care if you're the first black president. What are you doing about LGBTQIA? Black people, well, we just glad he there. That's why we ain't got nothing. You have not for your ass not, the Bible says. So we gave him a break and he took it. And I think that it was a mistake. Now they want to pile up on Joe Biden. I'm like, where was that energy then? Where was the energy when my man was in? And if you were a white boy, you're going like, hey, if you didn't ask your own man that, what you asking me for?
Do you think they learned from that terrible experience of having Obama in office and everybody's like, look, we was woke, but now we got to just not be happy with the symbolic recognition of having a black president. We got to be aware and have specific demands. Absolutely. And we should have those for anybody. Anybody. Just because you a black coach of a team, yeah, we got to cut him some slack here, brother. No. You, in fact, you getting watched more than anybody. And you got to deliver. Doc Rivers got to deliver. You know, or they'll let you go. Look, Doc Rivers led the way. He was crying. He showed vulnerability. They still cut him, homie. I'm just telling you. So you still have to be, and I think it's, you know, he'll go to Philadelphia and bring some vengeance on some of these people. But this, I'm going to get him back. Yeah, I'm going to, what? I'm going to do it. Doc going to get back at him. I'm not mad at you, play. I love Doc. So the thing is that you still got to perform. You got to be up to snuff. And Obama sometimes expected black people not to criticize him. And even if he didn't, other black people were doing it. So he let them do it, right? You ain't got to do it when somebody else got your back. Like, hey, you know, you're somebody else is saying that it's wrong and they're criticizing. And Obama ain't going, no, let them talk. Let them be critical. No, because that's not in your interest. So I just think that we look at white people and go, oh my God, they just follow Trump anywhere. Yeah, okay. They ain't the only ones. And so I just think that all of us should be critical of whoever is our leader, not critical in a nasty way, just hold them accountable. Appreciate what you do. We appreciate what Joe Biden does, but we hold him accountable. We appreciate what Kamala Harris does, but we hold her accountable. Nobody gets a free pass. But at the same time, we understand the difficulties that they're up against. We understand Obama was the first black president, that people were hard on him. They want to give him no chance. Even when you figure all that in, then you won't be like, well, damn, dude, they dogging you. Why you dogging us? Like, you know what that ish is like. Why you using your big foot to step on our neck when they doing it to you? Adding weight.
Huh?
That's adding weight to the struggle, man.
Come on, man. I mean, come on. So let's, you know, I mean, there's mad love for him. There will continue to be. He's a historic figure, one of the greatest black people ever. But at the same time, we got to hold you accountable, bro.
There's an exciting new podcast out from Gimlet, Resistance, inspired by the summer's protests. These are new stories from the front lines of the movement from Black Lives, told by a generation fighting for change, hosted by Saheed Tajan Thomas Jr. Resistance is out on Spotify. Take a sneak peek and listen here.
1, 2, 3, boom!
On May 29th at 10 a.m.,
I got a text message about a protest from a friend. Grabbed my bag, had my goggles. I knew what to do.
I put on some pants because I was wearing my pajamas.
Covered my entire face, combat boots.
Took our bikes, got on the train, and we just hit the streets.
I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go.
When people all around the world first started going outside and protesting this summer, I'm kind of ashamed to say I was on my couch playing video games. I convinced myself that I was staying home because I didn't want to catch coronavirus, but honestly, I was afraid of being let down again. We've been here before. I know I have. I've marched, I've yelled, and yet we keep ending up right back here again. So how come when protests started this summer, people kept saying over and over again, this time is different? What were they talking about? What were they seeing? So I went out. From Gimlet, I'm Saeed Tijan Thomas Jr., and this is Resistance, a show about people refusing to accept things as they are. People putting their lives on the line.
I got spat on, kicked, called the N-word.
They started pulling out their batons.
They started charging at people.
And the next thing I realized, I had like 5 police officers beating me up.
People becoming leaders.
Everybody! They are trying to strike fear in our hearts!
And people becoming targets.
These motherfuckers knock on my door at 7 a.m.?
Eric, you're the one making this difficult. We're here just trying to get you to come outside.
My first instinct was to run.
And some people, like me, who've been feeling hopeless for a long time now, are suddenly finding reasons to smile again.
Let me see that black joy, baby.
And low-key, they're turning the movement into the move.
It's like the Summer Jam or Coachella of protests. I'm just saying, like, it's a vibe.
I followed this movement for months now, and honestly, I still have more questions than answers. Like, how can we make sure this time really is different? What can we learn from the people who've been here before? And how do you keep on resisting when everyone else stops showing up?
Look at everybody going back to normal, man. What the fuck for? This ain't normal.
Resistance premieres October 14th. Listen for free on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's Black Lives, baby.
I was thinking about economic inclusion, and I immediately thought about people like these large institutions through these financial commitments, some 10 years, some 5 years, all these different things. This cash flow at, Black projects, different Black owned things. And do you think that was a significant quick fix, or do you think it should be more done going forward?
Well, I think we should have both and. Look, quick fixes are great. Symbolic things are great. Symbols are great. The symbols make a difference. That's why we pulling down the darn Confederate flags. That's why Nancy Pelosi, was it today, yesterday, talking about removing Robert E. Lee? That's important. That's just a symbol. Robert Lee ain't alive, but it's symbolic. Why we got this symbol here? Why does it represent who we are? So let's not pretend symbols ain't important. They are. They're extremely important. But they can't constitute the entire range of our substantive engagement with each other. So we need both the symbolic stuff and we need the substantive stuff, and we need, some real rethinking of race in America. We need substantive rethinking of systems. Every word that ends in system, we ought to think about. Public education system, criminal justice system, public health care system. The systemic has to be dealt with. That's the structural, the inequalities that prevail. Not just if you call me the N-word, are you kicking more Black and brown kids out of school than you are white kids? Are you holding them to a higher account than others? Are you putting them on a path of what they call it, from the pipeline to the prisons, from school to prison pipeline? Get kicked out of school, get sent to detention into jail, jail into prison. Or, studies have come out saying that many white brothers and sisters see Black kids as older. So we don't even get a chance to have a childhood. You look at Tamir Rice, 12 years old, in Cleveland, and the cops roll up on him, and in 2 seconds, he is killed. Our babies, because they see him as a man, older. We don't get a chance to have a childhood because they think of us as dangerous and menacing. And so we need not only individual and symbolic transformation, we need systemic, everyday stuff. Capital distribution, resource allocation, who's in the office making the decision, who can green light it, who has the capacity to pull purse strings, to make changes. So we need both ends. We need the symbolic stuff and we need the deep substance as well.
Yeah, and I know that faith and religion has always played a major part in your life. And
yes, sir.
You were the ordained minister at the age of 19.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just tell me like how important that foundation was for you going forward in your life and where you're at today?
Yes, sir. Well, it's huge. I've been a minister now for 41 years, and got my calling at 18, 19, then got licensed and ordained 21. So, yeah, it was extremely important to me and has been. And now you can tell I ain't no Orthodox preacher, so I'm sure that makes a lot of people, a little bit unnerved. But, I think preachers and ministers and Christians should be on the cutting edge. And we shouldn't be out here trying to uphold nonsense. And in the name of religion, I see all these evangelicals. I'm an evangelical. And when they say evangelical, they mean white evangelical. They ain't talking about black ones. Just like when they say working class, they ain't talking about the white, they talking about the black working class or the indigenous working class or the brown working class. They talking about white working class. Well, the working class went for Trump. The white working class went for Trump, not black working class. So when they talk about evangelicals, now you talking about Paula White, and you talking about, what's my man's name in Houston? The pastor, Osteen, Joel Osteen, and the Lord looked out upon us, and I think that it will be this way. Now, I don't want to dog it, but I'm like, bruh, and Donald Trump has been blessed by God. No, stop it. Stop it. Now, he might not have said that, but he was a huge Trump supporter. So was Paula White. And the rain, and it's coming. And God's going to bless him. And God goes bless him. And God has told me that he's going to be the... Well, what happened? God was wrong? What happened? What you heard wrong? God didn't act right? And so now you're trying to say God... See, I don't believe God is putting in Democrats or Republicans. Let me just say that. Well, God put Obama there, but then did God put Trump there? You can't have it both. You can't. You got to have it both ways. If God took 4 years off, I'm just gonna take this break. I'm on my lunch break right now, so y'all can have it. Do elect who you want, but when I get back, I'm gonna put my people in. Well, if God is God, even on the lunch break, God can determine what's going on. So really? You can't have it both ways. Either God is there all the time, or God ain't there none of the time. And I don't think God is trying to select no presidents. I think God says, here's the principles: justice, truth, freedom, democracy, sharing resources, helping people. Then you jump in to choose who it is among that you think fits the bill. But God ain't telling you, choose Trump over Biden, choose Obama over Gore, choose Bush over... God ain't micromanaging you. Like I gave you sense. Like the coach out there, no, I'm gonna let him work it out. I'm Phil Jackson. I'm gonna let him work through it. Hey, coach, what do we do? I don't know. You're on the floor. You tell me. Work it out. So the thing is that I don't think God be trying to determine who gets in and what. We got to adhere to values that we know reflect the Almighty's disposition. I would never presuppose to say who God chose and didn't choose. I just hope God choose me. And we got to be out there trying to do the right thing, trying to love people. I would rather get down with somebody who claims to be an atheist than some of these people who claim to know God and doing all kind of madness, bro. It's nuts to me, right? I believe in the Lord, and therefore I believe in capital punishment, kill all the Negroes. All you people killing babies and abortion, you against abortion, but you killing people. You believe in capital punishment, right? The contradictions of the real religion of so many evangelicals is whiteness. They're worshiping at the altar of whiteness. Billy Graham's son, Franklin Graham, is worshiping whiteness. You ain't worshiping truth, freedom, democracy. You ain't, small d, you ain't worshiping... you ain't worshiping God. You worshiping your white privilege. And the white boy, you mad at Obama, and he was far more moral than this dude they got in now, married to one woman. If that's y'all's litmus test. He married to one woman with his kids at the crib, And this dude done had 3, 4 wives, talking about grabbing stuff, and you saying God blessed him. All right. I mean, God does overlook a lot of craziness of all of us, but you got to still be responsible for it, and you can't get away with it, and you can't use God to justify and legitimate theologically some of this madness that's going on, this pathology. So their real religion is whiteness, man. And I'm not down with that. If that's the case, I'm an atheist. Straight up to that white religion that worships white privilege. I'm an atheist to that, bro. And in fact, I think God is an atheist. God, like, don't even put that on me, bro. I don't even believe in that. I'm not with that at all. So nope, I'm not a believer.
You've been one of the deepest brothers that, I've watched from afar. I mean, if I'm watching you on any network and you jumping on CNN or I see you on First Take or anything, I'm always stopping and just listening to the depth of knowledge that you possess. And thank you for, always being exactly who you are and say you are. I appreciate you. I know more brothers like myself are, looking for direction and looking for the leadership of people that we admire and recognize as, our idols in this space. And you've done a remarkable job, for years, brother. And just keep doing what you're doing. But my ask would be, what risk did you take by being that, by being truthful, by being outspoken? Did you have to take, risk for supporting your family? Did you get blackballed? I want to know that type of story, because I know that, speaking the truth sometimes, ruffle feathers.
Yes, sir. Bless you. Well, thank you so much for your support, man, because the admiration society is mutual, my friend. I've had tremendous respect and love and admiration for what you do, for what you are, for being a person of integrity, coming from where you came from. Like Drake started at the bottom, now you're here. Started at the bottom, now your whole team's here. So it's extraordinary what you've been able to overcome. And I'm glad you said that, because I've paid a price. You know it. Some bourgeois Negroes like, oh my God, no. How dare you criticize Obama? No. Oh man. People I done stood up for, they tried to jack me up, stab me in the back. People in media, I could call their names, you would know them, just don't even, and I've done helped them out. They wouldn't even know. But see, I can't be driven by those kind of considerations. It costs you, sure. Death threats. I did a book on Bill Cosby, back in 2004, 5, 6, whenever this stuff came down. Negroes were coming at me hard, man. I have to have bodyguards out in LA. I thought it was a joke first. They called me up on the phone. I was like, yo, man, come on. You trying to take me out over Jell-O pudding pop? For real? You trying to take me out over, and the people with the Jell-O and the thing. You trying to murk me for that? Like, because I got a critique. Because he's crapping on you and you don't even know it. He's speaking down to you and you don't even know it. Then, because he was drugging us long before he allegedly drugged those women. Wow. Yeah, he been drugging us too, making us believe that, dogging poor people was a righteous thing. That ain't brave for a dude who's worth $500 million to be crapping on poor people who can't talk back to him. In what world is that brave? In what world does that make sense? In what world is that something that is meaningful and significant? I ain't saying poor people shouldn't be criticized, but when you on TV crapping on poor people and dogging them without understanding why they poor, what conditions continue to conspire against them, and you don't have any understanding of what that is, and you're using your fame to crap on them. Oh yeah, I took heat for that. Why you trying to bring a black man? Now, how you like me now? I ain't saying, I'm just saying, I tried to understand that from early on. And so you often have to take positions that are tough, that garner you a lot of resistance, criticism, and the like. But you got to stand there and you got to keep shooting, like, dang, I mean, they making me miss my first 15 shots. What did Kobe say? But damn, if I'm going 0 for 9, Negro, I'm about to go 0 for 30, but I'm not going 0 for 9 because 0 for 9 means I gave up.
Yep.
0 for 30 means I shot what I had, brother.
Shot your heart.
And I got to empty the chamber. So the thing is that, you got to keep coming, got to keep stepping. But yes, there's been a deep price. Churches, I preach against homophobia. I was at a church in Cleveland, man, black church. Woman came up to me, you're going to hell. I was like, well, dang, did Jesus tell you that already? By God. I said, did you what? I spoke to Jesus this morning. He ain't said nothing like that. And she said, I said, well, dang, maybe I ain't got to watch my cholesterol then. What the heck? It don't make no difference. So then she was getting all mad. And she says, you know what I mean? You preached that God made gay people. I said, and you think I'm going to hell? Because you're a polytheist. You think there's one God for gay people and one God for straight people? What? What is God? Schizophrenic? Like either there's a God that creates everybody or God ain't created nobody, right? And so I try to challenge from within, even the people I love, right? Let's be self-critical. Let's be introspective. Let's not fight racism and then turn around and be homophobic. Let's not fight homophobia, turn around and be sexist. Let's not fight sexism, turn around and be classist, right? We gotta look at the isms even within our own community, light versus dark, how we elevate light skin privilege over darker skin and browner skin black people. Let's tell the truth about that and be open and honest and try to come to grips with those things. My daddy was blue-black, man, from Albany, Georgia. And I saw how black people and white folk treated him because he was a dark-skinned black man. So I'm very sensitive to that. So we have to look at these things. And yeah, I've paid a dear price. And thank you for asking that. Death threats, white folk mad at you. You're just ruining our kids. I just don't believe it. And I can't believe you got a job at my institution. So they've threatened to withhold money. I'm getting it from black people. I'm getting it from white folk. I said, well, I'm just trying to do the right thing and do what I can do. But you will pay a price often for that kind of honesty and straightforwardness.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the book that you did, on Bill Cosby, and also Tears Cannot Stop.
Right.
Like, where do these, the energy comes to put this pen to pad to talk about some of the things that's on your heart like that? Like, do that often? You always knew that was a gift of yours, or just something that just came about?
No, I mean, it's something you develop as you go along, you'd be like Akeem Olajuwon. I wasn't even playing ball, man. I ain't know. And now I'm one of the all-time great. No. Wow, chemo.
That is what happened.
Elijah was like, yo, I ain't playing that long. Embiid, I guess I've been playing a little bit, but that's what I do. So you discover your strength, you discover your gifts, you discover what you're good at. And Dr. King influenced me from a young age, of course, Malcolm X, my pastor, my teachers. But then you go along. I mean, I didn't know a real writer in my community except my pastor. I mean, he was an inspiration. So then, reading James Baldwin and Ralph Ellison and Toni Morrison, it made an impact on me. And so eventually, I was going to become I was an ordained minister. I thought I was going to become a pastor of church, but then the black church kicked me out because I was trying to ordain 3 women as deacons. And then they kicked me out. I had to go back to school because school had already kicked me out. The white school kicked me out because I said we needed more, speakers in our school. And they said, son, based upon the percentage of black people here, that's all you deserve. I was like, well, dang. And I got kicked out because you had to attend chapel every Tuesday, and I was skipping chapel in protest. So the white folk kicked me out. I went to the black institution. Black folk kicked me out, went back to the white people. Got my degree. I said, well, maybe God trying to tell me something different. I ain't going to be no pastor. Take up no collections. Live like an NBA player, no. Church, I need that Rolls Royce. That ghost thing look good to me. No. I'm just joking, all you pastors out there, sort of. So, So I said, well, man, I got to do something else then. What is the Lord telling me? Okay, maybe I got to be a thinker and a professor and a scholar. I mean, I still preach. People still invite me. I still do my thing. But, you know, I'm a thinker. I'm an intellectual. I'm a scholar. That's what I do. And, you know, that was my calling, it seems. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So you learn to, you know, stretch out on your strength. And so at that level, you know, one thing leads to another. Then you start writing and thinking. And I've always wanted to be able to do that. So it's been a joy to continue to write and think and teach. Yeah.
And I want to appreciate, I really just appreciate you coming on the show and joining me for this extended period of time. And I just had one last question. It's a question that I ask all our guests that come on, you know, just ultimately your legacy. You know, what do you want to be remembered for most?
Wow. A man who loved his people, who gave everything he had, emptied his chambers in defense of vulnerable people whose backs are against the wall, and somebody who wanted to use his work and his life to make this world better, not only for Black people, but for all people whose backs are against the wall and all people who feel underrepresented and marginalized in this society. That's what I'd like my legacy to be.
Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, it's been an honor and a pleasure, brother. Appreciate you.
Brother Butler. Thank you so much, Coach. I appreciate you so much. Good luck to y'all this year, and knock them out, man, and have a great season.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.